Hey everybody, Adele here. Well, I just wanted to pop on here to share my excitement that for whatever reason, more and more of my clients are starting to report that they are seeing energy fields uh, without a whole lot of effort after starting our work with me. Now, the interesting thing is that we never really talked about how to help them see energy. I mean, I have run classes where it's about the energetic field and what I see when I look at people's fields and things like that. And I give people some ideas of how they can see the energy fields, but I sort of stopped doing that a while ago. But what I'm seeing now is that clients are starting to develop their own site almost spontaneously in working together. And it is a joyous, exciting thing for them. Of course, to me, I'm sitting here going, well, to me, this is one of the most juicy, natural things that our modern life just sort of programmed out of people a long time ago, because many of us saw energy fields quite young. When we were little kids, we were told that that was just hallucinating, and we stopped doing that. And all I'm doing is helping people reclaim that ability. But the fun thing for me is I wasn't trying to get them to see energy. It seems to happen when people finally start getting online with their energy in a very deep way, especially one that involves their natural gender essence, feminine essence, masculine essence, your sexuality. That's a very different part of the energetic spectrum that sometimes gets overlooked when people are spending a lot of time in upper chakra work, meditation, which is also energy. Or they're working from their heart, which is energy. Or they're trying to speak their truth. All that is energy. But let me tell you, when you turn on the most primal power sources of energy, a lot of these other things come online with a whole lot less effort. You can move mountains with much less work than before. You don't have to spend all your time in meditation and positive affirmations and visualizations and all that stuff. Not that it's bad, but without some of this other energy that I'm transmitting for people, it just takes longer and it's harder. And a side benefit of when people start to, it's almost like an osmosis or homeopathic thing. I've sat back and wondered, well, how is it that my clients are starting to see the energy fields, the auric field around other folks without trying? What is it that I'm doing? Because I want to do more of that for people. And I've started to develop a theory of what I think is happening. And, one day I'll write it down. But basically, since I'm charging it, I'm charging their field, and boom, these things happen. People tend to see more of these fields when they are relaxed, joyous, in their bods, maybe kind of excited, not like bouncing off the walls, but just I'm feeling good. And I'm curious about what's going on. That general vibe tends to lend itself to a much more open state, and you just see more without having to try so hard. I've got, I don't know, half a dozen clients that now can see energy. Now, sometimes it's not all the time. Sometimes it's only with certain people. And I've told them, yes, that's natural. What I tell clients is, people usually tend to start seeing an outline first and then a color. You might see textures like me, there's often a progression of how your site starts to develop. It doesn't just poof all there. Although, one lady told me she looked at someone and saw wolf energy around her and wondered what that was about. And I'm like, great, that's unique to your way of seeing. And I'd rather not get too analytical about it. Just celebrate. You're starting to see. And this is the most natural thing for everybody. I just happen to make a living doing it. And I'm thrilled that I am now starting to get other people to use these gifts too, without a whole class on how to read the energy field, which starts to feel kind of, all right, we're gonna sit down and look, that's just too much work. In fact, a lot of people start seeing things when we're talking about completely unrelated stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I used to teach classes on how to read the energy field, and To me, that was always kind of boring because it's a part, it's like going out to a meal and separating the scent of the food from the entree. Why would you want to do that? I mean, you could, I suppose, but it's kind of abstract. The more you are there at the meal fully with total enjoyment, and you're smelling the scent and looking at this beautiful presentation and the ambience on the room, and you've got great company, everything is working. You're going to see more easily. Because if it becomes something you have to work at, especially for those of you who might want to do something like this someday, it can be very tiring. You know, earlier on in my career, I used to try to, a client would come in, I'd look at their energy field. I mean, like I would just make myself do that. And I noticed that I was starting to get very tired because it was sort of an academic, I should look at their energy field. I don't do that anymore because their presence shows up and I already see, I'm not even looking at them, and I see it doesn't require so much, you know, and right now, in my opinion, a lot of the training out there on how to read the energy field, number one, it's abstracted from the moment, which means you're not going to get as good of a read. Number two, it's going to be more theoretical, and the second point is really important because I've never met two people who read the energy field the same way. And a lot depends on your own discernment of your own internal state. And this is what I tell all my apprentices, all the people who are mentoring with me to build a transformational business. If you want to get good at this, first start to know your own energy field first. Because if you don't know what your own instrument is doing and you're trying to ping someone else, it's like the compass doesn't know, it can't get a clear north, right? You're gonna think you see something. And you know, I have clients come in and say, they tell me what they think they're seeing. And I can look at what they're feeling, and I can see why they think they see that, which is okay. Look, this is an art more than a science, but there are some things that if you want to be good, which I think many of you do, if you want to enjoy this ability, if you want to use it in a practical, useful way, whether it's with your relationships, dating, friendships, building your business, being a transformational leader, being a thought leader, this ability is really useful. And it's not something you want to have to work at. It becomes a natural after thought, or it just sort of happens when all the other parts of your system are online. We've done things backwards in this country, right? We go off and try to read the energy field so that we can do energy healing, so that, you know, I'm like, flip it, and you're going to feel a whole lot better first. You'll have more mojo. You'll be able to move mountains with much less work instead of, oh my God, one client and I'm exhausted, which is what happens with a lot of beginner people who want to do healing work. Their energy field is so, I mean, I don't mean weak in a pejorative way, but they're barely there. They're so busy trying to ping into the other person that they don't have a strong sense of north themselves. Their readings probably aren't going to be very good. Well, I want to say that they could be better. They could be more nuanced, less draining, and you're going to enjoy yourself so much more. But it's because I've devoted my life in understanding my own energy first and foremost. As you've heard me say, I never set out to do any of this. You know, it just sort of happened. And I am just delighted that the more excited I get, the more of my clients are starting to get these sixth sense abilities without me having to teach them. They're just in my presence. And there's a charging thing that happens. It happens without a whole lot of effort. It happens under the surface. Now, it doesn't happen immediately, but as we continue to work, they're coming in and saying, I see people's energy fields. Oh, Adele, I see green around you, or I see purple around you, or I'm like, great. Welcome to my world. This is normal. Come join my club. And is this something you want to play with more? And they're like, yeah, of course you do. Because it's joyous, right? So I just thought I'd share this win with you. I'm excited that I'm getting these fabulous results for people, not for my own ego, but it's really, I love watching people discover abilities they always had. They just didn't know. And they needed someone like a crazy, you know, medicine woman like me to come in there and just kind of charge the system a little bit, teach them a few things, and they fly, right? That's what this is about. And this is why it's difficult to do this type of work at home by yourself. You can't get this out of a book. You know, I try to transmit what I can in video. But again, I encourage all of you, connect with me. I am going to be having some small groups coming together where, I mean, this is where a couple of my clients started reporting seeing things. We were doing some other work and it just started to come online. Start feeling what that is like rather than imagining, or it's not a concept. It's an experience. And you can't do it by yourself easily, okay? Because if you could have, you would have already. So stay tuned. There's some things that are coming up in January that are really juicy. If you want to be a thought leader, you want to make a difference, you want to have an impact, there's a special sauce. You're hearing a song come in from the other side of life that's, you know, it's going to drive you crazy if you don't start acting on it, but maybe you don't know what it is yet, or maybe it needs a little bit of honing. We're going to extract it from the marble like Da Vinci, you know, out of or Michelangelo out of a block of marble. You have art and music inside. It's already here. We're just finding a way to bring it out. Okay, so I have yapped long enough, and I hope this is of interest. I just wanted to share this excitement with you. I'm creating people who can do all kinds of things, and it didn't take a whole lot of work on my part. So I'll see you next time. Share your thoughts. Share this with friends that are interested in the energetic field. They want to develop their psychic sight. They want to be able to see energy fields. There's a different way of doing it that's faster, that feels a lot better than the way a lot of this is right now being taught as an abstract how-to subject, which for me just gave me a headache. I tried it, didn't work. Anyway, you can learn to see auric and the energetic field a whole lot easier, more fun, and most of all, more useful. Okay, till next time, bye.